Hello and welcome to Drilling Insight. I'm Jeremy Verduzco, host and editor of National Driller magazine. I'm joined today by drilling trainer, National Driller writer, and co-host Brock Yorty. How's it going, Brock?
Doing good, Jeremy. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. And with us today is Jeff Garby of Alucast. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Now, Jeff is president of Alucast Incorporated in Ottawa, Canada, but he's pretty well connected in the industry and has an interesting perspective we wanted to share with listeners. So welcome to the show, Jeff. And first off, what is your drilling industry story? Where did you start and what's kind of the path that you took to get to where you are now?
As a young man, I went to Sir Sanford Fleming College, which is a drilling school up in Canada for a couple of years. It teaches you the basics, the knowledge of drilling, how to drill, different rigs from water well, geotech, environmental, what's below the ground. Just a great 2-year program for drillers. From there, once I graduated, I moved to Boston, worked on the Big Dig for a couple of years. Did a lot of geotech, environmental work, did a lot of work below ground, which was fun. And then from there on, I moved to Florida. In Florida, I did a lot of geotech environmental work, water well on the coast. Did a lot of big, large diameter wells on the beach, which was great. And once anthrax hit, I pretty much decided to, it was time to move home. So I did move home and started up a small drilling supply company. It was supposed to be a ma and pa company here locally, supplying drillers with the bentonite sand, pipe, water well drillers with their materials, and it just took off. I mean, we went from 2 locations to 3 locations, all the way up to 6 locations. Okay. And then decided that wasn't fulfilling my passion anymore. I was getting old. I was stuck in paperwork all day, so I decided to get rid of that, sold it off, and followed a passion of mine, which was manhole covers. People think it's crazy. It's
as one does, yes.
It's well protection. I mean, I have a story behind it, because every time I drilled a well I drilled for 15 years, and I can tell you 90% of the wells that I installed, I put a crappy manhole cover on top of it, and it bothered me every time. I would show up to the site maybe a year later, and I remember the wells. Most drillers do. They remember the well that they were on. If it was an easy well, a tough hole. Yeah. And one day I was on a site for at least a week. I was fighting the hole. All week long I was fighting it, coring, losing circulation and everything. And it was done. I was happy, put a manhole cover on, showed up a year later on the same site and saw my manhole cover there. And it was rusted, it was broken. And to be honest with you, it upset me. I mean, that my blood, sweat, and tears went into this hole, and how represented it's my hole. I want it to be well represented, and it wasn't, and it bothered me. I'd go back to sites and see my old manhole covers, and one day I decided just to go to a store and buy paint. I was working with a drilling company, and I just bought paint. Every well I installed, it was an environmentally friendly trim clad, and I would paint it, and I'd put it down. So when I'd come back to the site, I was sure that it was there and it was in good condition. Well, word got out in the province, and it was the big joke that with engineers that everybody knew which wells I drilled because of the manhole cover. So I somewhat incorporated that into today's world. I tried to build a manhole cover that drillers were happy to install. It wasn't going to rust. It was heavy duty, and they can go back to the site and be proud of their work. It was representing them. Okay. And, from there on, we offered custom. So whatever color you want, whatever, logo you want to put on it that represents you as a driller, we'll offer that to you. We'll make your manhole covers custom. So again, you can show up a year later or 5 years later, with your son or your daughter and say, I drilled this well, look at it. It's great. It's still in good shape, and I'm proud of it, and that irked me for years. So
that's where you're at. So that you kind of touched on it, but for those that maybe aren't in the environmental industry or don't know what we're talking about, what is the importance of well protection like this? What purpose do these serve?
Well protection will mitigate consequence. So what it means is you're working extremely hard, making a great well. If it's a water well, a monitoring well, a gas well, it doesn't matter. A monitoring well, we sell a cover, goes over the well. It protects what's below ground. If you have a crappy manhole cover, surface contamination will roll in, come inside, can contaminate your well, change the water levels, change the groundwater data that you're receiving. It's a huge problem. I mean, you got to have great well protection today. And not only that, you got to install it correctly. A story from a couple of years ago, there was a gentleman in New York State at a gas station, a good driller, a friend of mine. He drilled a well at a mobile station, installed the well. A year later, I guess it broke, and an elderly lady drove over it, got a flat tire, ran into the service station pump, and created an issue there, a big issue. They tracked the well back to the engineering firm. So Mobil sued the engineering firm. The engineering firm did not sue the company. They sued the driller. The drillers are responsible for the holes today. That's what drillers need to understand. It doesn't matter if the person at your office is ordering cheaper manhole covers because they're cheaper and they're making more money. It's your responsibility as a driller to protect your well correctly.
Yeah.
And that's big. I don't think we've understood that here. I don't think worldwide we've understood it until you get sued and you get caught, and it's a major problem.
So it's not just a matter of pride, as you were touching on earlier. It's also a matter of finishing the job right.
Absolutely. And we're all over the map as an industry. We're all over the map. I mean, some states, I love what Texas does. I mean, they have a concrete pad, 4x4. Up here in Canada, there's no pads. Jersey, there's no pads. Most states don't, there's no regulations in place for pads. I mean, we're all over the map, and it's, you know, and until there's more consequences, or there's bad manhole covers on highways or in streets or at an airport, and it breaks and pops the tire of a plane, something bad happens, then people are going to wake up. But
well, that's, you know, speaking of all over the map, Jeff, I've known you a long time. I've run into you at the show, you know, Val-d'Or, Quebec. We had a fun time up there. You know, like you've said, you've Boston, Florida, studied at Sanford Fleming. Tell us about a recent project that was exciting, or a project that's really memorable to you as you're out there promoting a better, safer, you know, system.
I've been on some pretty wild projects, but I think what really hit me was last year. It wasn't really a project, but it was more of a demo day. It was the Eikel Camp Demo Day in Gisbeek, Netherlands. I went down there just looking to just meet people, but I saw different drilling processes that absolutely blew my mind. And I don't think it was just a process that I met. It was the types of rigs that they had out there, the technology that they had, which was phenomenal. But what really opened up my eyes were the drillers from across the world. I met drillers from the UK, France, Africa, Australia. We had lunches together, dinners together as a group. And a lot of the companies have the same drills, but they drill differently.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's absolutely, and it works for people. And I think what really opened me up is that the knowledge that was shared, everyone learned something and went back, and we evolved as a group. So I believe if people keep meeting together, talking together, our industry is going to evolve. We just got to get out there and go to the shows. People think, I don't want to buy things. People don't go to shows to buy things. You got to meet people. That's what it is today. And that's, I mean, as for project wise, I mean, we've done some pretty crazy projects. I mean, there's some really cool ones coming up in the UK in front of palaces and this and that. I mean, we've done, you know, the Parliament buildings and historic land. So it's really cool to drill on different sites across the world. And the customers and suppliers actually invite you on site, which is, it's just a great industry. And I was lucky enough that Hugh invited me to travel throughout Europe with some, I'd say some big name drilling companies. And we went to Germany, saw different drilling processes out in quarries. We saw different sonic drills drilling through steel plates. We saw just crazy things. But what was great is he actually understands that we have to stop at different manufacturers, drilling manufacturers, suppliers, and just speak to them. They have a story as well. we think we know their products, but we don't. We have no idea. So I think we just got to keep going out there. And if you're drilling in Boston, you're drilling in Vegas, you're drilling in Florida, stop and visit the supplier there, visit the drill manufacturer, just make a pit stop and learn. You know, that's what it's all about, this industry. It's fun if you make it fun, and you'll learn a lot if you want to learn, you know?
So when you're traveling out there, I mean, you may not be traveling now, but when you are out and about and traveling and networking with some of these drilling companies, when you go to job sites, what are the drilling methods that excite you, that you look forward to seeing when you get to a job site?
I like seeing the top of the line drills, the top of the line technology out there. And I love to see the old beat up drills. I love seeing how people are still using these old drills and making it work. And I love to see the drillers who think they know how to drill with the highest technology drills and have no idea how to drill. So it's not really the drills that excite me anymore. It's the people. Okay. I love meeting the drillers. Every driller has a story, and every driller, how can I say this? I've been on sites that I've seen drills from 1950, 1960. Like, I wouldn't even go close to these drills, and they're phenomenal drillers, these guys. Phenomenal drillers. Just the tricks, the techniques, how they're feeling the drill, they're listening. But the newer drills are so big, so strong, so fast that you really got to understand it. But it's the people. I love picking their brain about the industry. I love understanding what their struggle is. I love picking their brain about my product, how I can make it better. You know, it's just, drillers are a wonderful breed. They're rough around the edges, but in the end, they're huge teddy bears. They'll never admit it. But once you get them sat down away from the drill rig, they're wonderful people like everybody else with the struggles that we all live. So it's more the people than the drills that I love when I travel.
That's awesome. And you know, we follow each other's social media, and you have a heck of a social media presence with Instagram and what Alucast promotes. And I enjoy seeing those stories. Why do you spend so much time promoting? Like, what is the goal? Because I enjoy the heck out of it. What's the end game?
We grew our company through grassroots, strictly through social media. We started off, and we believe that if we can get a demand with the drillers out there, that the drillers are going to like our product, ask for our product, ask their distributors to call us, we will get the business. I would rather educate an industry. I'd rather educate the drillers than educate a distributor. Distributor are educated on money. Smart people out there, they're very smart, they're business. Drillers are the people installing the product. I want to get our word out to them, but I think what we need to start doing a little bit more of is actually educating on social media. I mean, we got to stop promoting, just saying, look, my product's amazing. Look at it. It's amazing. It's amazing. Look what I'm doing. I'm near a plane. I'm near a beach. We got to start educating people. Drillers, you cannot give them a manual today. I mean, we're all ADD. We will not read, most of us will not read the manual. But if there's a quick mud school, just one product, bore gel. Here's bore gel. Look at the product. Make sure your water's at a certain pH. Mix it. This is how you mix it. This is how you pump it. Done. Next day, we're using this product. Next day, we're using this polymer. This polymer is used for this, this, and this. We're slowly educating a market, and we're evolving as an industry. That's what we got to get to, and people just got to get on it. I mean, there's the old boys club out there that look at me all the time. I'm walking with my phone at shows, and they're nodding their head. And hey, you know what? 10 years ago, I was with my old man. 15 years ago, I was with my old man at a shop, and we were sending out faxes. I had a stack of faxes, and my dad would say, hey, make sure it gets to the customer. Fax on that little wax paper, and you hope that he gets it, at the end of the day. And we're lucky. Social media gets to the people that you want. I mean, it's free advertising, and you have the opportunity to educate people, connect with people, and just talk to drillers. Like, it's great. I love it. So I spend a lot of time on it. Yeah, I do.
So Jeff, if you believe it, I still get press releases on faxes.
Yeah.
I mean, so my my fax number delivers to my email, but every now and again, I'll get an email from the fax machine with this carbon copy looking paper. It's just wild to me that people still use fax machines.
Evolution, my friends.
So, kind of speaking of how things change, when you imagine the drilling industry in, what it might look like in 5 to 10 years, what do you see? What's different?
I think waste-free nuclear energy is going to be big. I think we're going to start drilling on the moon. I know we will be drilling on the moon. I think it's going to be a war for who's doing what, but I think the drill manufacturers are going to step up in maybe 3 to 5 years, and we're going to start seeing the real heavy hitters and the smart engineers start engineering drills to drill on the moon and drill on Mars. If it's the Russian engineers, the US engineers, I mean, manufacturers are thinking about it right now. I mean, we've been talking to some people that are drilling on the moon right now. We're talking about well protection on the moon. Well protection on the moon. They're drilling wells and they have too much contamination coming in. So we're working with people in the UK for a manhole cover on the moon. That's where we're at right now, where 25 years ago we saw it in the movies. It's real. This is where we are today. I think as well, I think the drills, I don't see us standing beside drills anymore, pulling levers and pressing buttons. I think remotes are going to allow drillers to step back 5 to 10 feet for safety and drill wells. I think there's going to be more rod handlers out there.
Yeah.
I think safety is just, we're still not there. Brock's an advocate and I love you for it. But like I posted on social media today, in 3 weeks, I posted how many cut off fingers. It was an explicit picture. Don't get me wrong. It was a post to scare people, but
it scared me.
9 lost fingers in 3 weeks from drillers of people posting, look at my finger. Look at this. I'm in the hospital, ER. Wow. And one post was, hey, I just lost my finger while I was reading your post. It's mind blowing. Like, we got to get away from the drill. I guess we're just not smart enough to understand how a drill works. So we need to step back. If you're not listening to safety, the problem is my first day on the job in Florida when I was drilling, they threw me the keys and the address. Said, go drill me a well. I got 5 stitches between the eyes that same day. It's a high pressure hose. What's this lever for? There's nothing there. Like, we got to start educating the market. And I think that if we're not going to do that, we need to step back. And I think remotes are going to be the next big thing. Drillers are going to sit 5-10 feet on a chair and just do it. Helpers won't be getting beat up as bad.
I completely agree. I just read some data that said 90% of lost time work injuries in the drilling industry right now are hand injuries. And when GE Water came on the map, GE Oil and Gas, I saw those guys come out on a field. I was a Halliburton rep at the time with Bayreuth, and the guy opens his truck and grabs this rucksack and takes it to the tailgate. And it was like I was playing varsity high school football and he was an NFL athlete, for the safety bag he came out with that had every type of glove you could imagine to work on that job. If it was for abrasions or it was chemical or, I'm just looking at this guy and I'm going, wait, I work for a big company too. These guys are just doing it that much better. And so I'll roll this into the question. We just said 5 to 10 years, where will we be? Jeff, you're in the field. What challenge would you like to give the industry here on planet Earth? Because we gotta fix this before NASA or anybody's even gonna say, hey, it's cool, you can come with us, but we're gonna have to reinvent safety. So what is your challenge for the next 5 to 10 years for our industry to grow? What would you really like to challenge to see what we do better?
I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think mental health, and it's a word that, the drilling industry, we absorb it, but drillers are a tough breed. Got big egos. That's just who we are. And mental health is an issue. We're on the road 5 days a week. When you're drilling, you're away from your loved ones for 5 days a week, and you have a decent per diem. That's a recipe for disaster. It's hard enough being away from loved ones. Second of all, it's hard enough a drilling day. And then it's tough enough that, you get extra money at night to do what you want with. I mean, back in the day, what we used to do as young drillers is we'd make sure to stay at a hotel with a continental breakfast so we didn't have to pay. Lunch, we'd stop at the mobile station, get the $5.95 deli sandwich. with a bag of chips. So I'd have $65 left for dinner. So we'd go to a nice restaurant, and that night you can either have a soup and 10 beers, or you can have a big steak and this. But this is for 5 days straight. Sometimes you're away for 3 weeks. We need to educate drillers on, I don't know how, but I mean, eating right on the road, being healthy, staying fit. So that starts from being a boss and, you know, a president of a company saying, I'm going to give you an hour off on Thursdays, but I want you to work out, or twice a week. I'm going to take out a bit of your heavy shift. I'm going to absorb the brunt of it. And we're going to learn about eating on the road, or, you know, the benefits of this. And people aren't going to leave your company for $1. They're going to stay loyal to you because you care about their health. You care about their family. I mean, that's one of them. We need to make better drills. Our industry, I had awesome friends in the industry, but man, have we not evolved. I go to Europe and they're ahead of the game. And people say their drills can't drill on our land or our soils, American soils, North American soils. Man, we got to evolve. I mean, I understand it was an awesome drill 20 years ago. It is still a great drill today. It needs to evolve. Take a chance. Design something, engineer, just take a chance and build something totally whack and different. You know, like that's another one. I mean, and competitors got to start working together. I mean, we work with competitors. We work with distributors. I mean, people come out with beautiful products. They work, but they won't go. Like, people want to design something that goes in a well. Well, my manhole cover is this big. Your product's this big. You have an amazing product. It's not going to work. We got to start working together. And competitors here in North America just give each other the stink eye. Where in Europe, they have dinner together. Rig manufacturer competitors have dinner together and tell them what they're building and say, I'm ahead of the game. Come after me if you want, but I'm going to share my ideas with you. And let's evolve as an industry. Where here in North America is they stay at their booth, they give you the stink eye and don't look at my products. I'm not going to look at yours. It's based on price. It's got to go value. We got to start working. We got to start working together, you know, like, get over it.
All right. Well, thanks again, Jeff. You clearly have a wide perspective on the drilling industry. So one thing I thought was really interesting in talking about your travels over in Europe, talking about how competitors would sit down and have dinner together, and it was a much more cordial competing relationship than we see in the States or even maybe in Canada. What do you think, Brock?
I agree. We are a small community, you know, as we look for guests and friends to come on this, you know, you and I both many times are like, hey, this would be a great person for their world perspective. And I think United States drilling companies can learn a lot from our Canadian friends and from our European friends on how they're operating and how it is a community. We're not competitors. There's a lot of work to be done to save Mother Earth.
Okay. Well, with that, we will wrap up today's episode. Thanks again to Jeff Garby. Jeff, where can the audience find out more about you?
On Instagram, at Alucast __. We're launching our new website at the end of this week, and that's going to be www.alucastworld.com. And we're launching a couple new products as well. So you're going to be seeing us in social media very soon, or feel free and just shoot me an email at jeff@alucastworld.com, and happy to answer any questions you have.
Perfect. Well, thanks again for coming on the show, and to the audience, visit nationaldriller.com for the latest industry news and more conversations like this one. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Until next time, this is Drilling Insight.